Prvi dan trećeg Kaizen kongresa završavamo sa seminarom posvećenom Kaizen Time Studiju. U pitanju je radionica na engleskom jeziku koju organizuje BROADLEAF Japan. We are finishing today with a workshop called Kaizen Time Study. Please greet our Japanese colleagues and partners from BROADLEAF, Simon Curry and Kanako Kono.
I know it's been a long day, so I really appreciate everyone here taking an interest. Thank you very much. And we don't want to take too much of your time, so I think we'll start right away. And we will focus a lot on the demonstration of the actual software in this, at most, half hour. Okay, you can go because we're not going to go through all of it. We already talked about some of these things a few hours ago, so skip. And we already talked about this. Okay, so demonstration. Okay, so first of all, this is the screen that you would see when you start up KPS. And you get either on the top tab you see movie or save data, so you actually get to start a new analysis from a movie file that you import. So it could be a movie from your floor of a specific operator, or it could be multiple operators, so that's one view. And the other view, oh, okay, so, and this is the actual analysis screen. So you get the movie on the left-hand side, you get the actual elements timing here on the left-hand side, bottom left. You'll see more, we'll do the actual timing. And on the top right, you see the elements. That's where once the timing starts, you put in the elements, you name them, you categorize them, and the bottom right, you get to comment. So we'll go through all of this. So you see this, this video is packing soba noodles in a box. So first, the operator has to build the box. So that's one motion. So it started timing, it's building of the box. And that's just a mouse click. So it's like a stopwatch, but you actually get to view the movie multiple times and get it precisely right on how long the process, the element takes. So, and one of the features is the zoom. It's a very easy, intuitive zoom. You just drag and create a box where you want to zoom in. So, and now she's collecting soup for the soba noodles. And that's another action. And then you also get to change the playback speed. So you can make it really fast for very long processes or very slow for like very fast processes where you get the operation right. Okay, so here what she's doing is she needs to actually put in one paper of this, but she's counting all of them because this is the very first cycle. So it takes very long. And put one paper in, and finally closing the box, so that's another action. So in total, this one cycle, you see, has 6 elements. And that is one cycle, okay. So now what we're going to show is that this was an unusual element here where she's counting all the papers to be used in later cycles. She knows like how many papers she has for the future cycles, right? So it's not a regular process. So this is actually a non-value add for this particular cycle. So with a right click of the mouse, you see that it's red. So the red line is indicating non-value add. And she put one paper in. So that part of the action is actually value add. So it doesn't really matter. This is just an example of like how to make value add and non-value add distinction. And what you get to do with the playback of the video is to skip the entire non-value add part. So when you're creating, say, like instructions of this particular cycle, you can make it the length and also the motion of what a normal action would be for that particular operator in this operation. And here you see a comparison. We had this video for 12 cycles of the building the box, putting the noodles in, packing the box. And you get to see the comparison of the 12 cycles, or 10 cycles. And you see in the beginning, because he was counting the papers, it took really, really long. But after that, it's fairly even. And here you get to edit the element names. So make it just easy to understand for yourself and for anyone else who's going to be looking through the report. And the comment on the bottom right, this is something that will show up in a work instruction, PowerPoint and Excel and that type of output. So with just a few simple clicks, you can turn this analysis into a PDF or Excel or PowerPoint or HTML instruction set, so that it ends up, something like this ends up being output of the work instruction. And this is actually a video. So every step of the element is already included in the video instructions. So if you have like a new employee who needs to learn the operations, this basically is a step-by-step of all the instructions, including video example, and any comments that you want to tell them. And also it has like a standard length of the duration and so on. So this can all be created automatically with a few clicks of the mouse using our software, using KTS. And here you see the categories of the elements being value add, non-value add, and waste. But these categories, you can actually select them, you can edit them yourself as well. So if you want to do some other type of analysis that requires classifying them into different categories, you can do that too. So the next example we're going to show you is side-by-side comparison of videos. And this can be anything like comparing veteran workers to new workers to see how they're different, like how the new person can learn more the techniques. Or you can compare the same worker on a good cycle and a slow cycle. Or in this case, this is actually quicker if we just show it to you, because what this is the video on the right is a wearable camera that this person is wearing. So you get to see here, it actually has like where the eye is looking, and the camera is following him. So this is a standard like building maintenance. But in order to teach, say, like a new person who's going to do this job, it's very valuable that you get to see both the motion, and you also get to draw on the video like this to indicate like if there's anything that you want to tell live. And also it's very useful for the new employees to like know where to look, and not just like which area to look and so on. So there's many different ways you can use this software. And this one is an example of Yamazumi line balancing. So this is another view that you can use in the software to, it's an example. So if you have all these different operators, say in a line, and you have takt time, and you want to control the tasks so that they are as evenly distributed as possible. So you can just drag and drop and rearrange the tasks in a way that makes sense for the line, obviously. But then what this program does is it takes all the videos of the elements and you can play them back together. So you can see whether the rearrangement makes sense for the line and the operators. But it's very intuitive in that way. And this is a standard word combination chart, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And this shows two different instances. The one on the slower one is before improvements, and the faster one is after improvements. So you can compare how the Kaizen worked, like with actual data. So this is another output from the program. Okay. So that was the demonstration. And we have a couple more examples that we wanted to show you from the OTRS, which is the original program. And so this is a very interesting example by a parts manufacturer. They make small rubber parts, and because they make small rubber parts, that is a process where creation of one part doesn't take that long. It's only a few seconds long. So if you make a 0.1 second unit improvement in the production of this one unit, you actually save, well, this is millions of yen, which is actually, 1 yen is almost equal to 1 dinar, so millions of dinars savings for a fairly small company, which is significant. So that's one example. And this is another one. This was with Fujitsu. Now, Fujitsu uses GP4 to simulate their production line. And what this does is then they use OTRS after they started doing a test production, trial production, and the actual mass production. So what this does is, because they use GP4 first, that establishes like a standard production time. And OTRS can use that standard as a benchmark to assess whether each element is, you can produce it in that you can meet that benchmark time. So instead of starting the video analysis from scratch, you already had benchmark times to begin with when you use a simulations program like GP4. So it's an interesting way to combine these programs together. And what they did was they drastically reduced lead time in production by 75% because of that. And here's another one of the medical bed maker. As you can see here in the bottom chart, this is a very clear example of line balancing in action. So what they did was they took the videos of each operator in the line and they used line balancing to reduce the number of operators by 27% and increase production by 39%, so incredible gains. Okay, and next up is technical training and knowledge transfer. So here's what we like to describe as the waza, which is a combination of technique and skill. The distinction here between technique and skill, technique is very teachable because it's measurable by time and score. But skill is very experience-based. So a lot of it depends on the veteran craftsman knowing they have so much experience that they instinctively know what's right and what's wrong for that production. And that's very difficult to transfer, so that's more of an experience. So that's how we distinguish it. And that's where you can see on the right, before the category of, not the category, but the work type wasn't there before between technique and skill. That's another distinction that you can make when you have elements in OTRS and KTS, is that you can edit them the way you want. So you can distinguish an operator's elements between, is it a technique or is it a skill? And the techniques are easy to transfer, create work instructions for, but the skill is more dependent on the worker. So you can say if you have 11 elements and 9 of them are technique, then this one process should be fairly easy to turn it into like a work instruction and transfer the skills to another employee. And finally, so this is just a quick little exercise that if you guys, do you have pen and paper with you today? No? Yes? Okay. So, so we can do this. So it's like when you observe operators with your own eyes, how accurate are you if you're just watching and you're writing things down? So say, basically you're a facility maintenance guy, you get a call from an operator saying, oops, I opened a hole in the wall, how big is it? He says, oh, maybe it's about 1,000 dinar note in size. How big is that? So if you bring out your paper, and let's try drawing the size of 1,000 dinar note. Go ahead. Don't look at the actual note yet. We'll compare that later. Yeah.
But we have a problem. It's the same size. 1,100.
Let's do the exercise first. Okay, so you can please compare it to the person next to you, if that person also drew one, to see where do you guys match up. Are they close in size?
Yeah, everyone doesn't have. But it looks good.
So using your 1,000 dinar note size as an example, or as a reference, could you draw a 100 dinar note size? It can be inside. And then now you can compare against the actual notes if you have them in your wallet. Pretty accurate. Oh, that's impressive. What about you guys? Did you get it close in size?
Almost perfect.
Oh, wow. Wow, you guys are impressive. But Boyan was saying that the 100 dinar note is the same size as the 1,000 dinar note, but they're not. 100 is much smaller than 1,000. So the whole point of this exercise is that even though you guys are very accurate with the dinar notes, when you observe with your own eyes, one person's eyes, your observation is very subjective, and it can differ very widely between people. So that is why we recommend our video solution, where you record all the actions so that different people can analyze and you get the same analysis. And another thing is, like, a point of reference is very important. So you don't get that if you just observe an action, once with a stopwatch. So that's, and also the point of reference is very important for teaching skills, teaching techniques and skills. So just a couple of learnings from what we can do with KTS that we developed with Kaizen Institute. So thank you so much for staying. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the Kaizen Institute for this opportunity to present this. And we look forward to hopefully hearing from you guys if you have any interest in this software. Please ask your local Kaizen Institute representative, and we should be able to get you on your way quickly, because this was just released this month, so it's brand new. Okay, so yeah, there's steps to success. Use the video of the operators, select which process to Kaizen, and you estimate the effectiveness, analyze the results, and then you create the standardized work instructions like we showed you, and then you can eliminate waste and inefficiency. So you get both production improvements and also teaching transfer of skills and knowledge. Okay, so thank you.